You did.
You sound more awake now.
Nothing like a little caffeine in StarCraft.
Yeah, I was literally like chugging Coke in between games. That was like, wake me up.
Uh-huh.
Those are good games.
Very good games. Very well played. I liked it. I liked it.
Oh, the first game I was so scared because I was like lagging for the first 10 minutes, like horribly. It was like 4 second lag in the first game.
Welcome back, Mr. CovertMuffin.
Thank you.
So, before we proceed, I'd like to first congratulate Case on his victory. It was very well played,
Thank you.
especially for lagging out real hard and having just woken up apparently 10 minutes beforehand. I have to say, you're definitely awake now from the way you sound.
I was terrified.
Terror is a good morning.
It was like waking up from like a nightmare. My heart was racing.
Some people drink their morning coffee. Some people drink their morning terror. You know, it depends on who you are, what works for you, really. So
That first game, I don't think I've ever been so scared in the TVZ.
So that was on Daybreak TVZ.
Oh, isn't that a great build? I fucking love that build.
That was terrifying.
Yeah, unfortunately, I failed in my follow up. So normally Probe actually messaged me. He was like, "Dude, you're floating 600 minerals after your Nidus went down." And so usually I take my third base then, but then I never got the drone count up so that I could ramp back the units up from denying your third over and over again. But yeah, that's usually if I get it into your main, that's huge. But then if it doesn't happen, I just try and deny your third while I establish 2 more bases and tech up to Ultra, Infestor, Hydra. Yeah. Whoop whoop. But no, that was really nice play on your part. It's really beautiful.
Thank you. You're really beautiful.
Oh, stop. Oh, stop it.
Oh my goodness. Friendly. This is why we like the Day 9 community.
Guys, you might want to leave the call for a bit so we can have
You have your moment later, sir.
Business and then play.
But so yeah, I take it you're pretty excited when they use a build like that for some of the changes they've suggested. Let's be honest about the Nidus Worm in the next game.
Oh yeah. I've always thought that the Nidus Worm was way more powerful than people give it credit. I was playing versus Grandmasters with that build pretty successfully. But I stopped playing because I got bored, and then before I made Masters and above, and so I have a really tough time establishing the macro while trying to do multi-pronged attacks. So that's definitely something I need to work on. But I'm really excited for it to come back out in Legacy with the Nidus Worm buffs. Yeah.
One of the things that should be clarified about that is it says it's invisible. What that actually means is you don't see it on the minimap.
Right.
You can see it on the ground, which is why when you watch that show match that they did, you actually see him rush over with all of his workers at full extent, which I admit at first confused me too. I was like, wait, is it broken? I thought it wasn't supposed to be possible to do that. But nope, that's not what they mean.
Oh, that's great. I also love Burrow Tech, but I didn't break that out in that game, which I was kind of bummed about, but it was good. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun.
So, Caesura, from your perspective, tell us what you were originally trying to accomplish in that game before everything goes crazy with the Nidus Worms.
I wanted to get a third base, get a lot of units, and win the game. But
typical Terran, okay.
Yeah, but then I floated my third command center over, and I thought that was an overlord at my third. And then I'm like, oh no, thank God he hasn't pooped creep yet. And then the Overlord started screaming, and then I was like, oh, that's a Nidus worm.
That's a ground overlord. What?
Yeah, and then I was so out of it that game. Like I totally thought it was an Overlord. That's literally what was going through my mind. I'm like, oh, an Overlord. Oh, I thought it pooped creep, and I'm like, oh, it hasn't pooped creep yet. Great, I'm gonna be able to put down my third. And then it started screaming, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a Nidus worm. And then I pulled the boys, and then it didn't work. And look, I was just terrified the entire game. I was just holding down that marine button for dear life.
Hey.
I think I like the Nidus Worm not because of like its ability to transport units, but it's just like the fear that inspires in everyone, like regardless of what game when you put it down. It's like a person could do like one base Nidus and get it out by like the 7-minute mark, and like people would still be freaking out.
That noise is amazing. It really is one of the best sound effects in the entire game. Like, even if you hear it and you go, it's just a Nidus worm, you're still thinking, somebody just screamed at me. That produces a nice primal reaction. It's great.
You can imagine my first game after waking up very recently with Nidus worms and lots of screaming was terrifying.
Yes. So let's talk about game 2. We've switched up the matchup here from TBZ to TVP. This is on Echelon Wastes. Talk a little bit about this one, guys. Hard to do if I tell you to. All right. As far as Echelon Wastes is concerned, how do you look at it for your respective races?
Case first.
Don't take a third. Like, if you're gonna try to take a third, like just go 2 base all in, man. Just go 2 base all in. It's good for you. I took a third behind it, but like I'm like, look, I'm not even gonna take the safe third. I'm just gonna take my fourth. So I put my third at my fourth, and I went all in, and it worked. That's how Echelon Wastes works.
Jeez.
Hey, taking a third sucks.
Unless you're Protoss.
Unless you're Protoss.
Yeah.
How do you think of it from the Protoss perspective?
So I completely agree. I think it's much easier to take a third as Protoss on the map, and so that's sort of the reason why I went like for a really greedy gas play that sort of bit me in the ass. So like what I was trying to do is get fast +2/+2 upgrades with Charge a Lot Immortal. So like main reason is because the Echelon Waste has really wide sort of engagement areas. So Charge Lots can get a huge jump on a Terran army. And so if I'm like able to either get him to try and march up my ramp, it's pretty easy to surround and then allow the Immortal Archon to sort of clean things up. And his first push hit me right before 2-2 finished, and right when I was starting to power up hard on gateway units. So it was like a really beautiful timing, and I think it was mostly.
What 2-2?
Yeah, 2-2 is nearly done.
Oh my God! I just started 1-1 at the end of the game.
I had actually noticed that you were going for +1 shields instead of armor. Is there a particular reason for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the main reason is because Terran players, after you get Archon, they seem to try and like focus them down a lot. Like Marines are really good against Archons, surprisingly, especially if they have really good control. So it's really easy if I surprise them by throwing up a fast +2 shields. And so it doesn't really do much for the Immortals, and it does a tiny bit for the Zealots. But like the payoff once you get the Archons out is just like it's insurmountable. It's like crazy. And then like instead of getting +3 shields, I usually go for +1 armor. Then after that, and then with a +3 attack.
Okay.
And I find that's like really, yeah. But I'm still working out some kinks in the builds, but it's definitely a really greedy gas play early, and his timing push was so, that hurts so much.
That's all I do in TVP. It didn't even matter on the map. I just stim push. Umga can reassure that.
Oh yeah, I mean sometimes you throw Widowmine drops in there.
I do.
But
So-
it's definitely like really hard stim push, and it's so good for working on macro because you're like, you just you're screwing something important up if he shows up at your door and they just don't have anything, or you got build counter, which that might have been more build countery in that particular situation, but it was still really well executed.
He had a
Like-
surprising amount of crap.
And
Yes, he did.
So Case,
Wasn't that greedy.
all you do is stim, no matter what. Is that what you're saying?
It's money that I mind.
No, the money that he minds. Yes.
Widow mines in my main composition. I don't build widow mines. I don't build tanks. If I ever do, I'm playing outside of my comfort zone. My comfort zone is get bio, stim, and A move.
Nice.
A move. It's a pretty good comfort zone, I have to say. It's.
I don't. I'm not even joking. Like, I'm uncomfortable with Terran if I do anything else. If I as soon as I add tanks, I'm like, oh god, I have to siege these.
Extra buttons.
No.
All right.
And
Well,
I'll try to like stim the tanks, and it's like, oh no.
Wait, what am I doing?
and then
okay. Well, as always, I would like to give you guys a chance to throw any shout-outs out there if you'd like to. And otherwise, we'll wrap this up.
Shout out to my stream where I don't stream often, but when I do, it's great. I might be streaming Dark Souls 2 actually,
Ooh.
because I've beaten that game like twice, but like before Dark Souls 2 was out, I had a huge stream where I did the first Dark Souls, and it was silly. So I want to have another silly Dark Souls 2 stream.
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember that.
I didn't get to go.
I remember that quite fondly, as well as the resulting video. You may post that in the chat if you so desire.
Right.
What about you, Covert?
So shout out to you guys for throwing this on. This was my first time on the show, and it was a good time. I had a lot of fun. So thank you so much for putting this
Oh, you're
together.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. And then shout out to Probe, because he's a pretty cool guy and he talks some sense into me, talks some smack, and I'd like to also par case do a shout out to Morning Dumps, because they are probably the greatest thing ever.
Yes.
Shout out to Morning Dump.
Depends on what you ate the night before, though.
This is true.
Oh no.
Like,
True.
if I made ramen for myself the night before,
Well, on that note, as always, you can find the archives for this at tinyworld.com/daynights, and myself, twitch.tv/omega068, youtube.com/omega068, and of course, Zero Lambda.
Me, you can find me, twitch.tv/ZeroLambda. I spend a lot of time on Twitter, also at ZeroLambda. And, yep, hit me up. You want to play? I play things, sometimes stream, not very often.
tweeting them snow pictures.
Oh my god, the snow.
Heroes is a game.
Yes.
Destiny, especially on the PS3.
Heroes, Destiny, yep.
PS3 Destiny Zero now.
I actually wanted to try starting to stream some Heroes stuff, so maybe we'll have to think about doing that.
Oh,
I
sick.
spent a lot of time on it, so
Would join him.
Oh,
It's
awesome.
really fun.
yep. And yeah, so that's where you can find me.
Okay. All right, guys. That was an excellent show match. Again, we have 2 more on Sunday. ASL versus Shav versus ZRQ versus Ghost. And those will be casted by Caesura and Threx.
Pipe.
So this
Yeah, I'm casting.
this gentleman with this sexy voice from Australia is going to be casting on Sunday.
Oh, man.
You guys have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you then.